Welcome back to the Creepy Files. Now, I want to preface this. Normally, when people leave comments showing their own content, I won't cover it on principle. If I covered everyone who commented something, I would never be able to finish the stockpile. I try to keep it more to established content I find myself, or that is shared with me on Twitter or Instagram. But out of pure curiosity, when Martin Walls commented on one of my videos, in a very well-spoken paragraph, I went to see what was up with this channel. And wow, this shit slaps. This is probably my favorite piece of content to cover since the first Squimpus tape came around. Yes, it is a Five Nights at Freddy's inspired VHS tape, but it's something much more than that. Martin here has created an entire new world with the aesthetic inspiration of FNaF, but is done in such a unique way. All I'm saying is, Martin, hit me up. We gotta work on something sometime, because this shit is amazing. Alright, I just want to get right into it. The channel started by uploading songs from the soundtrack of something called the Walton Files, but I can't find anything else that precedes these. Then a video called Health Department PSA that was clarified to be non-canon and was mostly a reminder to wash your hands, which you should. Anyway, on April 26, Martin Walls uploaded a video titled The Walton Files 1, Company Introductory Tape. This 10-minute video is full of content, but I will only be going over what seems to be important for the analysis. I implore you to watch it yourself, it is criminally underrated. Let's get that view count to at least 1,000. The description of the video reads, "This is a compilation of tapes created by the already extinct Bunny Smiles Company. I tried to get as much info as I could about what these tapes are, and all I could find was that these tapes were handed to new employees back in 1974 to 1979. The rest of the tapes seem to be recorded by a new facility caretaker in the year 1982. Hopefully I can find more tapes soon. Anthony." The first part of the tape opens as an introductory video for a position at Bunny Smiles Inc., or BSI, known as a facility caretaker. It introduces us to the main cast of computer-animated characters, Bon, Shaw, Bazoo, and Banny. We also learn that there are two founders of BSI, Jack Walton and Felix Kranken. Finally, we get an info card for a storage facility in St. Juana's Forest. Apparently, it's where items including props, animatronics, and arcades from the 1974 location that was closed for good will be stored to be kept safe and working properly. The tape stalls here for a bit, and then we see a drawing of a gray bunny with a purple bow tie and a backwards voice. The reverse voice says,
"You finally start to remember. That's all day. They will be back for you soon. Sophie."
I really wish I could make out everything that is said, but I can't. Let me know what you think it is. Now, a presumably new tape starts, opening with a logo for Sunlight Animation and BSI. It appears to be a cartoon about a child version of the Bon character. In this episode, Bon has invited his friends over for a sleepover. We learn about a new character named Billy who appears to be a clown. Then, as the narrator goes over the names of the characters again, instead of Billy, we see an image of Jack Walton, and the tape goes dark. It eventually goes back to the main story where the friends arrive at Bon's house. When we see what movie they're going to be watching, we again see an image of Jack Walton on the VHS case, along with the text Home Movie. They sit down to watch the movie and we see a shot of the TV. There's a plush version of Little Bon, a bottle of pills labeled Sophie, and a TV that simply shows the text "Let me out of here." The tape glitches again before it fades into all the characters sleeping. Then Bon wakes up and walks through the dark towards some strange noises in the kitchen. He sees the TV in the dark, which is showing a missing persons poster for Jack Walton. It says he was last seen in June of 1974. Then we see Bon pick up a lighter, as is indicated by some text on the screen. He flicks it on a few times before it suddenly changes. Now, instead of Bon, it's a girl in a security uniform holding a lighter with the name Sophie on her hat. A distorted version of the Bon animatronic is standing behind her. The tape cuts to a new tape taking place in 1982. Someone is driving through a forest at night, and they reveal that they are the new caretaker for the St. Juana storage facility. He says someone named Chris told him the storage facility hadn't been used since the late 70s. When he enters, the place smells awful, and he discovers the broken down animatronic of Bon. He also mentions a relocation project that BSI has, but he doesn't extrapolate. He attempts to test the Bon animatronic, and it works relatively fine at first, until suddenly it starts to glitch out. Then we get a close-up of Bon, human eyes appear behind the empty sockets, and it begins to gush blood from the eyes. The tape cuts back into the car, seemingly driving away from the facility. The man behind the camera coughs and says, "What was that thing?" before the camera cuts, possibly from falling off the dash. There is darkness for a moment, and then we see two glowing eyes in the top right, and we hear the man behind the camera breathing. A light turns on, and we see a close-up of the Bond animatronic in the woods, looking either rusted or bloody, and it seems like it's covering its face. There's a distorted robotic sound, and the footage begins to glitch out. Then the tape cuts to a weird, morphing, low-poly 3D model of a face, while creepy music plays. Then it cuts to a blonde man in purple, with bleeding empty sockets, and his whole body and face are distorted. He seems to be missing an arm. The text, "I can't feel anything, he thought I was her," appears. Then it cuts to dark, and a badge appears. It shows a similar-looking man, but not distorted, in the photo with the text, "Hello, my name is Brian Stells, and I work as facility caretaker." Then it fades out, and we get some credits. A lot to take in, right? Well, using what we've just seen, I want to give my interpretation of the story as of now. Likely there will be more videos made in the future, and I will probably be making videos to cover those as well. There was a restaurant in 1974 called Bond's Burgers. One of the creators, Jack Walton, went missing in June of that very same year. And after something happened to Sophie, a security guard involving an animatronic, the 1974 location was closed for good, having the props and animatronic moved to a storage facility in St. Juana's Forest. The restaurant, or at least the brand, reopened with computer-animated versions of the characters. Years later, Brian Stells is hired to work as a facility caretaker for the St. Juana storage facility, but is attacked and maybe even killed by the old Bond animatronic. I suspect the malicious intent or actions of the Bond animatronic are linked to Walton's disappearance. Maybe some sort of possession, or the co-founder Felix was doing something malicious with the programming or creation of the animatronics, and when Walton found out, he had to kill him. I also don't think we've seen the last of Sophie. The line, "he thought I was her," makes me think the Bond animatronic is after Sophie for some specific reason. I'm not sure what to make of the rest of her story yet, especially the pills, since we don't have an exact transcript for the reversed audio. But she will be important later, I presume. Alright, that was the Walton Files 1 company introductory tape. I implore you all to go watch it yourself. It is fantastic. I love the art style, the way the storytelling is done. It's amazing. Again, Martin, hit me up if you need a voice actor or something. I don't know. I'd love to work with you on something in the future. Good fucking job on these tapes. They are gold. Anyway, for the rest of you, let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments, and suggest what I should cover next on my Twitter or Instagram. See you all next time.